Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua, Ba'ashim Rakah Quadash, and double honors to the apostles of the great millstone, and as well as giving salutations to those that are exhorting Yahushua with this ministry. And also, I say shalom to the brothers that can further the ministry, but still heed and support what we do, and even unto the Akwafim as well. So this is the brother Laban coming at you with another video, and in this video, I want to get into this news here, which is quite interesting to me, because by the looks of it now, being that Russia is being bothered by America and as well as the NATO military units that are down in Ukraine, now Russia's going to begin to do the same in sending their military units in the backyard of America. So let's get into it. Russia unveils military plans in Cuba and Latin America. Putin has agreed on a new collaboration with Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua. Russian President Vladimir Putin has agreed with the leaders of Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua to develop partnership in a range of areas, including stepping up military collaborations, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has announced. Speaking on Wednesday in an appearance in front of the Duma, Russia's parliament, Lavrov reported that Putin had talked recently with the leaders of the three Central American countries and that they had agreed to work together to strengthen their strategic cooperation. So like I said, all of this is just Russia stepping into the backyard of their enemy in the Western Hemisphere, and that is America. Alright, so this world war is definitely soon to take place. I mean, we've been reading articles for years about, the geographic issues concerning these nations and what they've been up to. And I remember like 7 years ago, maybe I'm correct. Excuse me, I'm incorrect. 8 years ago, I remember when Obama was in office and Putin would send a whole lot of S-400s, S-300s, which are missiles, towards the allies. And, as usual at the time, and as well as you have it today, this ever since been this backwards and forwards. And now it's heating up. And the time is drawing near for this ultimate war to break out, as we've been prophesying about. But, as we expect in Great Millstone, we expect the mark of the beast to come in first. And once that comes in first and is made mandatory for the world to take, as they're going to do it, so that's when war is going to break out. Alright, so what the Lord is doing, the Lord is just getting these men, these mighty men in positions where they need to be in, and getting them ready. So when the time presents itself, then it's going to be about that time. Alright, and we are approaching right about that time. So let's read on with what this is saying also. So it reads, President Putin held recent telephone conversations with his colleagues from these three governments with whom we are very close and friendly, and they agreed to look at further ways to deepen our strategic partnership in all areas with no exceptions. Lavrov stated. He noted that Russia already has close relations with these three countries in many spheres, including military, technical. Asked about the prospects of increased military cooperation with the three countries, Lavrov answered, for the immediate future, we are counting on regular meeting of the corresponding committee. And I just want to say this as well. No wonder down here in the UK, they keep making mention of our Prime Minister, how he was caught partying while people were commanded to go under these COVID rules. And they keep pushing this stuff out there on Daily Mail. I believe also on Sky News as well. They're pushing that a lot. And the reason why they're pushing that a lot, because there's real stuff getting ready to happen. And this is one of the real news which is basically being aired out that no one's talking about on Sky News, but they're talking about, oh, he was found out partying while under COVID conditions. All right, so every time the media pushes this particular kind of news, or every time the media pushes one kind of news, you have to look behind what they're pushing, because it's a distraction from something else. And this is what they're distracting the world from, that Russia is actually making moves, and there's about to be war, and war is about to break out. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's Russian helicopters flying around us right now as I'm talking with you doing this particular video. It's getting real out here. All right, but like I said, the chip is going to come in, that the MOTB prophecy is going to kick in, and then once that kicks in, then it's going to be a full-fledged battle between these nations, and that third war is going to kick off just lovely. So now that I'm done reading what I needed to read on this, and what I'll do is as usual, I'll put the link to this article in the description box. All right, so what we're going to do here, you know what, I could read a little bit more on this. Where was I before? Yeah, I was right here. So anyway, asked about the prospects of increased military cooperation with the three countries, Lavrov answered, for the immediate future, we are counting on regular meetings of the corresponding committees. Earlier this month, Moscow's Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov was asked about the possibility of sending troops, and that's what they're going to do, to Latin America, and he refused to rule out the possibility. I mean, he don't have to rule out the possibility, because that's what they're going to wind up doing anyway. They're going to wind up sending their own troops down in the interiors of South Central America, in America's backyard. They don't have to speak on every single thing they're going to do, and they won't, because some of it's confidential. But I mean, if you look to see what's going on, I mean, it's quite obvious that's what they're going to do, concerning Russia. So anyway, it's the American style to have several options for its foreign and military policy, he said. That's the cornerstone of that country's powerful influence in the world. The president of Russia has spoken multiple times on the subject of what the measures could be. For example, involving the Russian Navy if things are set on the course of provoking Russia, right? And further increasing the military pressure on us by the U.S., he went on, and we don't want that. The diplomats must come to an agreement, right? The U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan responded, noting that Russian military activity in Latin America had not been a point of discussion at a recent security talks, but said that the U.S. would act decisively if it did happen. So, and as they should, because your enemy is at your backyard, so you should respond. But this is why Vladimir Putin potentially could very well send his troops down there, and so that America doesn't do anything stupid in their backyard. Okay? So like I said, man, this thing is about to kick off. The Heavenly Father got all of these mighty men of all of these nations to be in a particular position where they need to be, and when the time is correct, they're gonna shoot their missiles. They're gonna go do the groundwork first. They're gonna fight on the ground, and then eventually it's gonna be a global world war breaking out, and this is what's forth to come, man. And that's why they're down here in England. They keep talking about the Prime Minister being caught partying while under COVID conditions. Back almost 2 years ago. Anyway, so let's get into the prophecy in Isaiah concerning the Medes. Okay, verse 17, behold, I will serve the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. And their bows also shall dash their young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb, and their eyes shall not spare children. And Babylon, in the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And when these Russians start to shoot their missiles, at America, and as well as their allies as well, they're not going to spare little children. They're not going to spare women that are pregnant. None of that's going to matter in the eyes of these soldiers when it's wartime. All right? And as it's prophesied in verse 19 to be exact, and Babylon, which is America, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah? Sodom and Gomorrah got desolated or decimated by those brimstones. So in like manner, America's going to go out. But the only difference is that those missiles are going to hit America, and America's going to be nothing more than a desert, as it continues to say in Isaiah verse 20, as it reads, it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall an Arabian pitch tent there, and neither shall the shepherds make their foe there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures. And owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there, and the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. And that's the exact point of time that we're living in. We're living in a time where the time of her judgment, in other words, Babylon's judgment, that it's near. All right? And we're approaching the time of experiencing and witnessing altogether, as I would like to say also, the destruction of Babylon the Great, which is America. All right? So there you go. So now we're going to move forward and we're going to read Ezekiel 38. So let's begin by reading verse 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, and the land of Magog, which is the landmass of Russia, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And the Russians are what you call the modern day Medes. And why are they called the modern day Medes? Because this was the location that the actual Medes, which really their real nationality were that of Japhet, the people of Japhet, that are now dwelling in those South Pacific islands. They used to dwell in Europe and even in Eastern Europe. So these were considered the Medes, siding with the Persians when they were ruling at the time. And as well as they did, they conquered ancient Babylon. So you're going to have the Iranians, I said it wrong, the Iranians, and as well as the Russians. They're going to be within one another as a unit, and then also you're going to have the others that are allied with Russia, and they're going to do what they got to do in fighting the allies of America. And as well as that, in saying, what you're also going to have too is that even the allies of America are going to turn against America. So all of these nations are going to shoot missiles eventually at America. You know, and there's articles that have been brought out about how France, to be exact, they're looking to duck out of the EU, and many other European nations for that matter as well. But they just haven't, exposed or expressed that. And let me say that instead. But in due time they will. Just have to wait and see. Verse 3, And say, Thus saith the Lord power, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thine army. In other words, the Lord is going to put that warrior spirit back in them, that USSR spirit in them. And I will bring thee forth and all thine army, and horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with buckler and shield, and all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, Libya with them, and all of them with shields and helmet. And that's what I was saying about Iran. Iran is right along with their allies such as Russia, and as well as Ethiopia, because down in Ethiopia, the Russians, which this was aired out yesterday. So this says Ethiopia, Djibouti, and Russia holds joint business forum. A business forum aimed at raising awareness of small and medium-sized Russian businesses and give them a clear picture of the investment potential of Ethiopia and Djibouti, as well as creating a conducive environment to improve bilateral trade and economic relations were held in Moscow yesterday, according to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So they're doing business with one another. As it says, they want to improve on their bilateral trade and their economic relations with each other, which was held in Moscow yesterday, according to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So obviously, Russia is going to be allied with Ethiopia because their business is down there and they're doing business with each other, trading with one another, okay, which is their interest. So now let's go back and read Ezekiel 38, and we're going to read verse 6. Gomer and all his bands, and the house of Togarmah of the north quarter, and all of his bands and many people with thee, which I believe Togarmah is where Turkey is. Let's look it up to see if I'm correct. Yeah, so I did the research. So it's in Armenia. So let's keep going. It says, of the north quarter, and all his bands and many people with thee, and be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. And this is what's going on right now. Russia's back in the yard of America, and they're being a guard unto their allies. You know, those that they have interest together with. You see, and as well as I've just read a little bit of, actually I've read all of it, and as I can remember reading this article, they've been in close relations with the three countries, the Russian government that is, they've been in close relations with these three nations, these countries, Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua, for some time now. And, Cuba and them, they don't really have a problem with them, being stationed down there, because America's getting on their damn nerves as well. So, everything's going accordingly to the plans of the Heavenly Father, man, concerning this up and coming war. But like I said, and I'll say this the second time coming around, we're waiting for that chip to come in first. That's going to be the first thing that has to happen before this war, full-fledged world war, kicks off. So that's pretty much all I have to say with this. I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua, Ba'ashim Rakah Kwadash. And with that, I'm out, and I say shalom.